Steve's speaking time will be 15 to 20?
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Pardon me, 50 to 20 longer if the club program allows.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Antonio. Steve Elliot, Oh, the Places You Will Go, A Learning Journey. Oh, the Places You Will Go, A Learning Journey. Steve Elliot.
It's my favorite time of day. A time that I treasure. It's story time with my 2-year-old son. We're in a dimly lit room, and I'm reading his favorite author, Dr. Seuss. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. And it hits me. Those words speak to me. Tonight, I'm going to share my learning journey with you. Good evening, OISE faculty, esteemed guests, OISE students, and alumni. Have you ever experienced that time when you're reading a story and the words just jump off the page? And who would have thought, for me, it would be a children's author of all things? But when you reflect upon those words of Dr. Seuss, I started to realize, that's me. For you see, I was at a career crossroads, and I could go in any direction I chose. Do I take the safe route and stay as a retail manager, but perhaps feel unfulfilled? Or do I venture in new directions to tackle new challenges and perhaps grow as an individual? What would you choose? Now, SAFE does have its advantages. Career fulfillment will not pay the mortgage. But when you really get out of your comfort zone, I've learned amazing things can happen. And tonight I'm going to highlight a few of the amazing things that have happened to me on this journey. Now, this journey starts 7 years ago. I am a 20-year veteran of Sears Canada. And life is good. My career is doing okay. Not as fulfilling as it used to be. And then I get the fateful phone call from my manager. I enter her office, and the door closes behind me. I get the word. I'm no longer needed at Sears Canada. And so I find myself with this new canvas on which to play. I start to do self-reflection, and I discover that maybe retail management's run its course, and I need to look at other things. And learning and development keeps speaking to me. I think back on all my roles. What did I enjoy most? Seeing other people advance. I enjoyed seeing my impact in their lives and how I was able to help them get where they wanted to be. And so I started to pursue and investigate learning and development as a career path. Now, I was blessed with Sears Canada. They gave me a job counseling with right management. And I took advantage of that service every chance I got. And what I learned was, you're more likely to get a job by networking than you are applying to a help wanted ad. Networking was new to me. I was very insulated at Sears. I did not have contacts in learning and development industries. So I had to jump out of my comfort zone and reach out to new people. I discovered the CSTD trade show, which is the Canadian Society for Training and Development. And I decided I was going to go to this trade show and get to know the vendors and, who knows, maybe network with somebody. And I was blessed. I met a man there that has made an impact in my life since. His name is Don Jones. And when I talked to Don, I asked him what his journey was like. Well, Steve, it's like this. You got to start somewhere. You got to get out there. You got to do it. Okay, so where do I do it? Well, the way I see it, you got to just find those opportunities. See what you can do. He then told me his journey and told me how he had struggled at the start, but now he was president of his own company. I left the meeting feeling very excited about my future potential. But then, safety beckoned. PetSmart gave me a job offer, and I happily went to the dogs and managed as a store manager and learned a great deal about my leadership skill and really challenged myself as a leader, for I had never run a store on my own. So it was a big challenge for me. 5 years go by. The learning and development has been put on the side because I'm now engrossed in being the best store manager I can be for PetSmart. But again, I'm unfulfilled. And so, again, I'm at a crossroads. Leave PetSmart and have this blank canvas yet again 5 years later. This time, I take Don's words to heart. I reach out to him again, and I say, Don, what should I do? Well, Steve, you got two options. You're either going to stand in front of a mirror and talk to yourself and improve your public speaking, or you're going to go to a Toastmasters Club. Toastmasters? I don't need to know how to toast at a party. I need to know how to public speak. Just go to the meeting. You'll see what it's about. I still remember my first meeting to this day. I timidly walked into the room, took a seat at the back corner, hoped that nobody would call on me or notice this strange individual. But nope. The chairman of the meeting says, I see we have a new member. Can you please stand and introduce yourself? 20 sets of eyes turned to me. And I struggled to come out with the words. But I discovered that the group is very welcoming. And I learned that Toastmasters is much more than public speaking. You get to learn about being a leader. You get to experience different things, and you learn different points of view. I would heartily recommend for anybody in the training and development industry to really look and investigate a Toastmasters Club if you're not already a part of one. It has been a huge benefit to me, and I feel I would not have gotten this opportunity at OISE without being a Toastmaster. Now, Toastmasters, I have to admit, you get a little comfortable because you're delivering speeches to the same group of people. So how do you keep pushing yourself? Well, for me, it was getting out and doing speech contest. I entered the speech contest, which was called a speech evaluation contest, where you give feedback to a member of the club. And I went in with the intention, I'm going to win at my club. That's my goal. And so I enter. Lo and behold, I end up winning at the club. Okay, this will be a great learning experience. Now I'll get to compete against other Toastmasters. I'm going to a different level of competition, and I'll take learnings from that. So I compete in the next contest. I win again. Now I'm competing against 7 other Toastmasters from around Mississauga. And I gotta tell you, the butterflies are really working overtime in the stomach. Because now I'm going to a whole nother level that I'd never been to before. I've got Toastmasters coming up and giving me tips and techniques, and it was a great learning. I delivered my evaluation, sat down, and then had to wait 45 minutes or so for them to announce the winner. I won again. Now, the knees are shaking. Because now I have to go to the conference and deliver at a district level. Well, this level, I'll be delivering this evaluation in front of 300 people with a microphone. To say I'm out of my element is putting it mildly. Now, unfortunately, I did not win that contest, but I took a great deal of learnings from it. I now know how to harness that nervous energy, so when I hit the stage, I don't suddenly blank, and the ums and ahs don't come tumbling out of my mouth. I will speak more confidently based on my learning experience. And speaking of learning, There's two other organizations I need to talk about tonight because I've gained tremendous benefit from both. One is OISE. I chose OISE because I went again to the CSTD trade show. And when I talked to the people at the booth, I got a true appreciation that they were more focused in me as a learner than the program itself. And that told me a lot. That told me that this was the place where they value learning. It wasn't about the people teaching, it was about the learners involved. And so from that, I joined OISE and participated through the classes. And I've got to tell you, the 5 faculty that we have at OISE have taught me so much. Not only what's in the binder, but just the practical stuff that comes outside of the theory. I'll give you some examples. Natalie did a tremendous job of, Natalie had an issue with her PowerPoint. It crashed on her. And I remember her saying, "I'm sorry." And then she said, "Oh, I just broke a cardinal rule. You're never supposed to apologize as a presenter because it undermines your authority with the audience." I never knew that before. And now when it happens at our club, I'm always kind of earful when I see somebody presenting and they apologize. I make sure I share that learning with them so that they don't feel the need to apologize in a speech. Josie did an amazing thing. After my time in the class with Josie, she said, "Steve, I want to speak to you for a second." And I thought, "Uh-oh, what have I done?" And she pulled me aside and she said, I want you to know you're on the right path. And at that particular point in the second class, I have to admit, I did have some self-doubt that this was really for me. Her words of encouragement were a tremendous wind under my sails. They allowed me to go confidently into the future classes, so I'd like to thank Josie for that moment. Valerie told me all about Prezi. I hadn't any idea what Prezi was before I joined her class, and again, it taught me a system I didn't know, so I went home, put it on my desktop, played with it a little bit, talked about it at my Toastmasters Club meetings, and I'd even had a chance to talk with it at Target as well, so it was a nice way to learn more about what was going on and the buzz on the street, so to speak. Michael will probably appreciate this the most. I was at a Toastmasters conference and the person on the controlling the meeting grabbed the microphone and the room was full of chatter and clatter and that person went on the microphone. Well, you can imagine our eardrums were just shattered. And I always think back to Michael's use of the harmonica as a way to kind of gently remind the crowd to pull back and to come back into the curriculum. So thank you, Michael. And finally, Pauline, a fellow Toastmaster who I shamelessly stole her vitals for and did a speech on vitals, which is all about voice control and inflection and tone, which again is very big when you are speaking in front of a large group of numbers. So the faculty at OISE is tremendous and I learned a great deal from them. The other learning organization I need to talk about is the CSTD group. And what I've gained from them as a student member has been tremendous value. They are, without a doubt, very focused on learning, obviously, but they're also interested in networking. So I've attended a few of the networking breakfasts, and I've gotten great value out of it. So much so that I've now volunteered to be on the networking committee so that we can help to improve the process for future networking sessions. I attended a tremendous session with CSTD called Twitter as a Training Tool. Now, coming into that session, I was using Twitter to stalk my favorite celebrities. But I realized that after Jamie's session that it was much more than that. You could train somebody, theoretically, with Twitter. And I got to use that experience with my club, which was tremendous because I got to be able to take that Twitter knowledge and deliver it in a tangible way and really experiment in a safe environment. Also taking place at Jamie's session, he introduced Andy Foley, who stood up from the CSTD and said she was looking for volunteers for the CSTD conference. Now, I could not afford to go to the CSTD conference. But when she said she was looking for volunteers, I thought, oh, this might be a way for me to get down to the conference, attend, And again, rub some shoulders, rub some elbows with some people from the learning and development community. And so I did. And I got to tell you, it was an enriching experience on a multiple level for me. I felt I was giving to the CSTD, giving back to the CSD what they've given to me. And I also got to hear some tremendous speakers and learn some things about what was going on out in the learning community and some new trends, some new things that were coming down the pike. I got to see John Medina speak about how the brain works and how the brain processes thoughts. Very interesting stuff, and stuff that I, again, can take forward with me in my future. If you haven't volunteered for CSTD, I strongly urge you to reach out to your chapters and let them know you're interested, because it's a great way to give back to the community, but also a great way to professionally develop as well. So when you look at all the journeys I've taken and all the directions I've gone in, you see that you have to put yourself out there. You cannot sit back and wait for things to come to you. If I had never gone to that Toastmasters meeting, I'm firmly convinced I would not be standing here speaking to you tonight. If I hadn't gone to the CSTD Twitter training session, I wouldn't have had the experience at the CSTD Learning Conference. I wouldn't have been able to take my knowledge of Twitter and apply it in a real-life setting at my Toastmasters Club. If you sit back and wait for things to happen, it's not going to happen. I love the training and development community because we are all, as a group, very helpful and very supportive in seeing people develop. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the industry. But it comes with a caveat, and that caveat is you have to be comfortable asking for the assistance. Things are not going to just fall into your lap. You have to be the one going out there. So I started with Dr. Seuss. I think it's appropriate we end with James's favorite book's author. And I will tell you now that there are many mountains that you may climb. But I say to that, today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So get on your way. Thank you.